Hello, my friends. It is day 345, and we're reading Romans chapter 14 through Romans chapter 15, or excuse me, chapter 16. And before we get into our recap today, I want to thank you for taking a moment to check out this video. Hopefully, you're finding the yearly Bible reading program enjoyable, and I hope that you are gaining a lot out of the reading. If you have not yet accepted a reading challenge, you can join us in the 2026 year by visiting www.selflesschurch.org. And there you will find a link that will take you directly to a registration page where you can submit your interest in being a part of our reading group. And then we'll keep you up to date with everything we're doing and all of the great times we'll be gathering throughout the next year to study and to pray through God's word. So today we are looking at Romans chapter 14 through chapter 16. And all these chapters are great, right? There are a few things that I gain, and maybe I could put it this way. There's this one big point that I gained from today's reading, and they are found in several different places. It seems to me that when Paul ends this letter, you can really tell what his point was throughout the entire writing, through these last three chapters. And the point was learning to live for other people rather than living for yourself. And this is not the only book where Paul actually conveys this message, but it is a central theme and probably one of the most important parts of this book amidst all of the theology and the systematic thinking. His grand point is we are Christians and we are to learn how to live with one another. And the way we do that is by learning how to forget about ourselves and think about the next person in the room. And so in chapter 14, he talks about how a person should think about the weakness of other believers. When you talk about that, he's basically saying that we should not be so caught up in trying to determine with other people who are weak in the faith whether they are actually strong or not, or whether they're believers or not. We get so caught up in those kinds of things, and you know how that gets, especially when we talk about the Protestant norm of denominationalism. We have all sorts of issues that get in the way of us existing as the unified body of people that we are supposed to be. And furthermore, it gets in the way of us proclaiming the gospel in a way that testifies about Jesus Christ. But in chapter 14, he begins to help people understand how we ought to and how we can exist in community where there are different levels of spiritual maturity and spiritual formation, right? And one of the classic examples that Paul continues to use is how one embraces the dinner table, right? There are some people who believe that you should eat certain things. Some people believe you shouldn't. And Paul says we shouldn't get into such disputes over those things. We should just simply consider the level of faith of the person in the room. And a strong person will do whatever it needs to be done in order to, if you will, accommodate or to help the person who is the weakest in the room. In chapter 15, he talks about living for others. There's this part that I just really love. In verse 1 of chapter 15, he says, "We who are strong must be considerate of those who are sensitive about things like this. We must not just please ourselves. We should help others do what is right and build them up in the Lord. For even Christ didn't live to please himself." You see how Christ is the example. It says, as the scripture says, as the scriptures say, the insults of those who insult you, O God, have fallen on me. Such things were written in the scriptures long ago to teach us. And the scriptures give us hope and encouragement as we wait patiently for God's promises to be fulfilled. And so he's using Jesus as the example of how we should handle one another. And we know how Jesus handles us. And so when I think about these passages, a lot of times we ask the question, can I do this? Can I do that? Should I do this thing or should I do that thing? And to be honest, the answer is, what will you doing whatever you think you should or shouldn't do? What will it do to the next person? Like the person in your family, the people in your family, the people in your community. How will that decision affect you? Yes, that's important. But how will it affect, more importantly, those people who are watching you, those people who are living in community with you? And if we can answer that question correctly, we will find the answer to a lot of the things that we are questioning in our life. So maybe that is the test. Maybe that is a thing for us to embrace. That's what I took away from today's reading. But I would love to know, what did you take away from the reading? Leave it in the comment box below and let me know your thoughts. Again, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, God bless. And remember, live by the word.